All right, recording on both. Hopefully, it sounds good on either one.
Yeah,
Let me see
hopefully,
something
hopefully.
here. Yeah, okie dokie. All right, here we go. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. What up, and welcome to the first ever exclusive episode on Patreon of Creeps of the Crypt. Technically, I'm thinking about calling this little show or segment because I don't know how it's going to work out, but this will be called Books of the Crypt, I think. Technically, that sounds a little bit better in my opinion, because basically what this little show is going to be, monthly, we're going to talk about comic book segments or strips from Tales from the Crypt that we think could have been or could be still good episodes. Hopefully, we'll do these live as well. I'm thinking, like when we record these, we'll just put them on Patreon live when we actually do them, and you guys can chime in and let us know what books you want us to talk about. If you know what, not books, because we're not going to talk about everything in a comic book, but like what little stories in the comic did you actually think would make a good episode, and what you think we should read. So I thought about doing this one. Every time we go to the comics, when we reference an episode and we look at the original source material, we find that sometimes we really like the source material. Sometimes we see the changes that they made and we thought they were good. So we're like, you know what? Like that one, I forgot what comic it was, what episode it was, that we're like, why did they make this one when they could have done this? It was in the same strip. So that's what this episode's all about.
Yeah.
So I picked one comic book, one strip to talk about. It's always the Roadcaster for some reason. We can never do this live. it would never
Yeah.
work out, because every single time we do this we always have this technical issue. I would love to do this live, but this unless we switch, like instead of using Discord, maybe we use I don't know.
What is it? StreamYard?
There's StreamYard. We could try that. I've never had that, but I had to pay for that.
Well, like all the other people use it. What Film Threat?
Everybody uses it.
FNT uses
Yeah,
Roadster.
everybody.
I mean, not whatever that.
StreamYard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess because it's all goes through one channel rather than, I don't know, multiple channels, right? Or just OBS always.
You send the link to somebody, it's all done through the internet, so it's not like I don't know what this whole issue is. I don't even know if it's going to be working now, technically, because rebooting it and having it on the same settings, why does that affect it? But it works. It does it many times. I have to turn it off, turn it back on, and it works. So I don't understand.
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah.
Anyway, as I was saying, how have you been?
Good, man. Just keeping busy.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I've been keeping busy too. But anyway, let's get to the episode at hand, because action. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I was gonna let you go first. We had a lot of technical issues. This is never gonna be live. Sorry. I was like, I'd love to do it live. Not gonna happen unless we use StreamYard. I'll probably use StreamYard if that's the case. But anyway, so we have a Patreon. This is exclusive to Patreon. Do you guys? Why am I even saying that? If they're, I guess because this one's gonna be public. This one episode is gonna be public. We're gonna post this on YouTube, so everyone can see. But normally this episode will be exclusively, with these little comic book talks, will be exclusively on Patreon monthly. So there you go. Anyway, here we are. I was going to let Alan go first to talk about it, but he doesn't know the format I want to tell this in. So I'm going to do it my way first. So the comic book I decided to go with, is called The Shadow Knows. Now, what I like about this comic strip is that, although I will say it feels like a lot of these comics in the 50s, or a lot of these Tales from the Crypt stories, is always about a fucking cheating husband and him doing something to his wife. Because funny enough, the comic that Alan picked is similar to this story. So, and there's another story also. I think we were talking about the season 4, episode 1, right? And in that episode, the guy drives off the cliff, and he's killing all the wives and everything, and they come back to life at the end of the episode. Well, not in that episode, but in the comic. But yeah, in this one, it's called The Shadow Knows, and it's pretty much, it starts out with a man at a grave talking about his girl, and I was finding it funny that his woman's name is Jandra. I was like, is that a name?
I never heard of this name.
Jandra. I'm like, That was a
Sounds
name.
like a rapper.
Yeah, so I would change it to Jordana probably if I was writing it. But like he's standing at the grave, and I don't think I would start it out the episode with him at the grave. It would be like, for me, it would be like kind of like you start the episode where it's him and a woman in bed together, right? And he wakes up and you see that they're in love and everything, and you think it's a beautiful little romantic story, right? And then he gets up and he leaves and he goes home, and when he goes, he's going home to his wife, who also loves him, because basically this story is Jondra's his wife and she just passed away, and everyone thinks that she just died of natural causes or suicide. They think she died of a suicide, as he says right here. They thought it was suicide, Mabel. They all think that. And now I can marry Jandra, rich, sweet Jandra. And it was all so easy. And then he talks about how him and Mabel, his wife, how he met Jandra, how she fell in love with him, you know. So that's how I would write the story. It's like, starts out like that. He goes home and then he's with his wife. She loves him and everything, but they don't have money. Mabel has money. Mabel loves him. He wants to be with her more so for her, not just for the money. But in all these comics, it's always about money. So it would be like more for the money, but he can't get away from his wife. And that she would write him whenever he would leave, she'd be on his sack because she loves him. So she'd write him notes or send him telegrams and saying like, I love you, darling. I miss you. I can't bear to be without you, as she does here in one of these storylines. But he also says how he met Jandra, and Jandra asked him, like, will you marry me? She asked him. Like, she fell in love with him. She asked him, and she had money and everything. And he was like, oh, God, this is great, you know? But then he's like, well, what am I going to do with our wife? So what he does is he goes, this is it. Her suicide note. He decides to kill her. But he's going to say, but people will only believe it because they know how depressed she is when I'm gone. And then he finds a note that she wrote him. And in this note, it says, you know, I have to do this. All I have to do is clip the last two lines here. And with her signature, it will be perfect. And I forgot what it says. It says, the pinning of a neurotic, lonely woman, feeling sorry for herself, taking the easy way out. The neighbors told me how unhappy she was when I'm on the road. So he decides he's going to kill her. So what he does is he goes to this hotel when he's on business, because he's like a traveling salesman. He tells the front desk, listen, don't bother me. Don't have anyone disturb me. I'm staying in my room. I have to sleep. I'm dead tired. He sneaks out of the hotel room. He drives all the way. I forgot how many miles, 200 miles, 200 miles. Imagine that. He drives 200 miles back home in the middle of the night. He goes home. He sees his wife sleeping on the bed, passed out. He picks her up and carries her down and fucking hangs her. Look at this. Look at how she's hung. Look at that. It's unbelievable. And then he goes, I'll put the note right here. Now, see, this is all good and everything, right? Then he drives back to 200 miles back to the hotel. And he gets a telegram, the news that his wife died. He starts sobbing and crying. And remind you, his girlfriend, Jandra, has no idea that he's married. So it's not like she's a bad person. She doesn't know. But, you know, Tales from the Crypt.
It's a victim of circumstance.
Yeah. Tales from the Crypt is always, you know, sometimes innocent people or good people get their comeuppance too. And so he starts crying and he's like, yep. He goes, they go, the death by suicide. The body of the deceased to be turned over to the surviving spouse for burial. Case closed. So now I'm free of Mabel, free of any shadow of suspicion. And as you can see behind him, there's a shadow right there of a woman. Right? That's so cool, right? Because something bothered Eric as he crossed the grave mounds and neared the cemetery gate. He had a queer, uneasy feeling, as if somebody's following me. I can almost tell. Good Lord, what is that? He stood rooted to the spot, his scalp crawling. Two shadows, and one is the shadow of a woman. It looks like, no, it can't be. She's buried. She's dead. She's 6 feet under. She's I mean, he could keep going with all these things.
She's post-mortem.
She's maggot food. She's worm meat, like whatever, you know, like she's 6 feet under. It's impossible. No. And it's the shadow stalking him and chasing him, and it's Jandra's shadow, and she's following him all over, and he can't get away. And he goes to his hotel room and she's there, and he's like, oh my God, he doesn't know what to do. He's nervous, and then Mabel calls, and wait, which one's, I forgot which one's which already. Jandra is the wife, right? Which one's Jandra?
That's what it seems like.
Wait, let me see.
And Mabel's the guy.
Goodbye, Mabel. No, Mabel's the wife. Jandra's the girlfriend. Oh. Okay, so
Jandra,
what a name. So he goes, I probably imagine, he tries to tell himself like, oh, it was bullshit. I probably imagine he goes back to his hotel. He gets a call at the Dover the next morning with sunlight streaming into his hotel room. Eric happily phoned Jandra. I'm going to say Jordana. I must have been really a mess last night thinking I saw Mabel's shadow. Well, I'm all right now. And hello, Jandra. Honey, I'm back. When can I see you? Tonight, darling. I'll beg off Mother's Women's Club and come to your room at 8. And don't forget, I proposed and you owe me an answer. That's right. He didn't even say yes yet. He killed his wife without even accepting. She could have, terrible. But like the anxious lover, Jandra was early. So she goes to the hotel early, 7:30 instead of 8. Surprise Eric early. There's his window, 5th floor, and his shadow. She sees the shadow of Mabel in the window. Why, that's not Eric's shadow. It's a woman's. I'm early, and oh, the deceitful cheat, the two-timing SOB. And then she calls him and she starts telling him off. And he's like, no. And he starts screaming, you're trying to queer with me, Jandra. Mess up my marriage plans, my future. Well, you won't succeed, Mabel. I'll patch things up. So he's pissed. Jandra's like, I'm not having it. You were cheating. And she's like, no, you're mistaken. It was a shadow. It was my shadow. You saw my shadow. You didn't see anybody else's shadow. And then she's, back in the 50s, women are so dumb. That's how they put it, like back in the 50s, women, they were so gullible. So she's like, you know what? Maybe it was his shadow with big breasts and nice hips and a long hair. Or maybe he has a secret. So how would I write that? Like, I don't know. Maybe she looks in the house for clothes, but I mean, she has no idea Mabel existed at all, so there's no reason he should have clothes of Mabel's, right? So, that wouldn't work. If she found clothes, maybe she thinks he's a cross-dresser, but I don't know. I would think it would no. She just thinks, she goes, what do you think, I'm an idiot? And he goes, no, it was me, I swear, it was the cleaning lady, he could say. And 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I swear, I'm telling you, darling, it was the cleaning lady. It was nobody. I'm not cheating on you. I love you with all my life. I want nothing but you. The answer is yes. Yes, Mabel, I will marry you, as he says right here. And my answer is yes, darling. I'll marry you. Let's elope. We could drive up to the Covington where there's no wait. We could drive up to Covington where there's no wait. Just give me tonight to wind up my business. I'll pick you up in the morning, darling. Eric had been careful to push off the wedding till morning. He sensed that Mabel's shadow shunned daylight, even though, why? I guess the shadow doesn't show up in the daytime, which is odd. I guess it's odd if it's odd it shows up at night, right? But why wouldn't it show up in the daytime? It doesn't make sense. He sensed that Mabel's shadow shunned daylight. He wanted to play it safe, but Jandra was a woman, and a woman is a suspicious creature. She was curious about Eric's business, so she paid him a surprise visit that evening. Eric, you said, I love how they write I choke, but they don't mean to write I choke. They mean to write like the character chokes, but back then they wrote I
they're
choke.
always literal with those things like that. I always wonder how to read it.
Yeah. He's like that. Like that's how she goes. This time there was no mistake. She'd gone up unannounced and pushed open his room to his door, and she's seen that the two shadows on the wall, Eric's and a woman's embracing. Huh? Chandra, that you? This is a surprise. Oh, Eric. Oh, so it's Sob, not S-O-B. I thought she was called a son of a bitch.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Chandra flew from the hotel room, and you could see the shadow chasing after Eric, while Eric's shadow's chasing after Chandra. Chandra's shadow, you can see right there. I don't want your explanation. We're through, Eric. Goodbye. So they go down the street, and I would have to figure out how to write this ending, how to make the ending better, because you don't want to do exactly like the comics, some necessarily at times. But basically, like, for some reason, she disappears into the night, and then she's running down, and Mabel's shadow is chasing after her, and then he bends down to tie his shoe, and then he used
what?
And then he goes, wait, what the? And then the cop is walking down, and he sees the shadow of a man choking a woman, but it's really his shadow tying his shoe. Eric knelt in the deserted street, tying his loosened shoelace. The distant street lamp cast his shadow up on the warehouse wall. Across the corner, suddenly, an ear-splitting scream reverberated through the night. Ah! What the? And then a cop hears a scream, good Lord! And he see while Eric is tying his shoe, Chandra was running away, and Mabel caught up to her and started choking her. But you can't see Mabel's shadow, or nobody else can, or maybe the only people can, for some reason, would be Chandra and Eric, but who knows? Or maybe it's just covered for some fucking reason. And the cop sees, what he sees is Eric's shadow, like he killed Chandra. So he goes, I didn't strangle anyone. It's Mabel. She's trying to punish me. It's her shadow. Look, if I killed somebody, where's the body? And the cop goes, right there, buddy. No, it's Chandra. Better come along, mister. And then Mabel goes back to her grave and disappears. See, like, the only problem I have with writing this necessarily, is that I don't want the shadow to look like the Goosebumps. I don't want the shadow to look like the Goosebumps shadow in the intro, you know.
Following, yeah, just following the wall or following him on the ground.
But with technology now, I think it'll look fantastic. And I think that was a great story. And I just came across and I was like, that's fantastic. I love this one. I was like, yeah, that's the one. This is a great adaptation in my opinion, because you could make it really cool. And also, this is why I for some reason I've been on a little noir kick, because I was watching something and they said that movie is a noir, like a noir movie. And I said, what? How's that a noir movie? Right? Like, I don't see anything. I forgot what movie it was too. It was saying like it's a noir movie, but what movie was it? I forgot. But they add different elements into it that doesn't make you think that that's the only thing it is. It's like, I forgot. I think it was Blue Velvet, maybe. I think it was Blue Velvet. They said Blue Velvet is a noir film, and I'm like, how the fuck is Blue Velvet a noir film? And I'm looking at it like, yeah, in a sense, because something happens, that something is found, and it leads to a mystery and a guy, and I guess it kind of is like a noir film, and a man and a woman type deal. But there was another movie I watched called Detour. That was really interesting. That's like a 1920s or 40s film. It was pretty cool. It's only 60 minutes long. And it's basically this guy, he's a musician, and his girl wants to go to California. He wants to marry her, and she wants to go to California to try to become an actress. She leaves while he stays back, and then he's like, you know what? We're getting married now. I'm getting down there. Don't worry about it. I'm getting down there, because he keeps losing jobs or whatever. He hitchhikes his way down to Los Angeles, but the guy who's driving him dies suddenly. And then he's like, what the hell? Because he's driving the guy's car. He has no money. He's almost like a bum. He's like, they're gonna think I killed this guy. Like, if I call the cops, they're gonna say you killed him. Obviously, there's no way this guy just fell out of the car and hit his head or whatever. It was wild. And then it turns around because the guy has scratches on his arm. He said he picked up a girl. Blah 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 blah. This guy dumps the body, takes the car, drives to a gas station, pretending he's this guy. He's just using his ID and everything because they kind of have the same build. And then this woman sees him, and then she's like hitchhiking, and she gets in his car, and then she goes, I know who the real guy is, because she's the woman that the other guy picked up earlier, that she scratched him because he was handsy with her. So she scratched him. She knew who the guy was. So then she's like blackmailing the driver now. So he has to do her bidding, and then it gets cool, and then that was a really good noir thing. Only 60 minutes. So I'm like, oh, I want to watch noir films. Which led me when somebody said Blue Velvet was a noir film. I'm like, what? And I was watching. I'm like, oh, it kind of is, but with all this crazy shit put in between it. But I loved it. So reading this, it was like a noir. Could be like a noir thing, a noir episode 2. Oh, that's also the episode 2 of season 4 of Tales from the Crypt. I watched it. I know we never reviewed it yet. But that is like a noir, basically. That I feel like that is a noir episode. Like that is a concise. I don't know. I felt like that's what it was. Anyway, I'll elaborate more on that when we review that episode. But yeah, that's what I thought. But anyway, so that's the episode I picked. The Shadow. It can't be called. The Shadow Knows. I think that's pretty cool. So you want to get to your episode? Pancho V?
The comic book I wanted to bring up was Marriage Vow.
Yeah,
this one was in the Haunt of Fear number 26. I believe I gotta scroll through this again.
Oh, that's the same one that the Shadow Knows is on, I think. Yeah, it's the same one. Funny enough, we had no idea either. Like this wasn't. I was like, I said pick a comic, pick a strip or whatever, and maybe just I don't know. It was funny. That was random, but yeah. So this is the comic.
Yeah, I wanted to pull this up because I wanted to go with the theme we were going with. An episode we watched that the story was adapted from, and yes, the Spoiled was on this one that we reviewed the episode for, and then I just looked through this and found the Marriage Vow. Was a pretty interesting story. It's very similar to what you were bringing up about about a man and his wife, and it's kind of takes on similar facets. I mean, I could see this being a pretty cool episode.
I never actually read the whole thing. I read parts of it, and I got to an interesting part. So this is what I find interesting about this. I'll tell you right now, and maybe they used this. Somebody had this vision, and they used it because this is very, very. Her face right here in this middle panel. This is the bitch from Pet Sematary, the sister. You ever see Pet Sematary?
Oh, a long time ago, but I'm trying to remember.
She has a sister where she talks about a story about when she was younger. Her sister has some disease, and that she was forced to feed her sister. And her sister was in the room, and her sister looks at her like this. And she looks just like this fucking grotesque. Oh no.
Yeah. When we get into it, I think this would be a cool example of the makeup effects of what they were doing on the show. It would really come in handy. Yeah. So we kind of follow a married couple, mostly in the story. It kind of takes place majority in the house. We get introduced to like Martin Saunders here. I'm looking at, and it goes through a lot of inner monologue or inner dialogue, really, just talking about how much he hates his wife, and and how miserable he is being with her, and how he can't really can't get past like her looks and everything. So that's kind of where we get introduced to him, trying to get a fresh breath of air outside. But then the wife is just like, nagging him like, it's like, where are you going?
But the same thing happens in like I said, all these comics. It's like we talk about Spoiled, okay. But I thought it was the last issue of season 4, episode 1, None But the Lonely Heart. That was about a guy who marries women and then kills them for their money. See, this one is like the same thing with the last one, was like he killed his wife Mabel because he wanted to be with another woman that she was beautiful and she had money. It wasn't so much about the money that he wanted to be with her. Okay, this one is the same thing. Like she has money and she's gorgeous. She's like, she was young too. He says she was young. He's like, oh, here he goes. There's no escape, Martin. You can escape into the memories of your past, can't you? You can relive those moments when you first knew the ripeness of Eva. The ripeness. Those words. You're so young and fresh, Eva. Fresh and fresh as dew-laden flowers, trembling in the morning sun. And she kind of looks like some actress. I don't know, Rita Hayworth. Oh, darling, I do love you. I love you more than anything on earth. And he goes, and I love you more than life, Eva. More than life itself. And she's rich, filthy rich. So I think tobacco they talked about, like some tobacco family, whatever. And he goes, do you marry her? And he goes, do you, Martin Saunders, take this woman and her money? I do. Right? So it's like, and he goes, which car will you take, the Jaguar or the Caddy? I can't decide.
Oh shit!
So, but why kill her? Because spoiler alert. But we'll get like.
Oh damn it! Come on.
I mean, I only saw one part, but like this part is interesting. Like I was wondering too because it jumps back and forth, which would make an interesting episode. Like trying to figure out, well, what happened to her? How did she get to this? Because in the comic, it's like he says, you remember what she looked like, and then you see she looks normal, and then she looks grotesque again, and then you're like, what the hell? And then this was an interesting scene. Where he goes, you shake your head fighting down the gorge that rises in your throat, and you sit down to eat. Finish every drop, dear. We must keep you strong and healthy, and don't scrape the mold from the bread. Try it. It gives it a taste. I'm not that hungry anymore, Eva. Why, you've scarcely eaten enough to stay alive, Martin. Come on, finish up. And she never eats. At least she never eats in front of him. But yeah, you can go on from here. And she's a filthy animal. The house is like disheveled.
Yeah, it's like an air of mystery of like what led up to this point. Once you find out, she used to be good looking and she looked, she's seen better days. And no, that would have been a cool aspect to have. Just seen here too. I was thinking like either going down the route of just implementing that makeup to make her look really gaudy, and or just kind of keeping her in the shadows and making it seem like mysterious in a way. But I think the first option would work pretty good. And it's just kind of going down the same ladder, like just showing examples of like them not being where they were, and like why he's like so trying to get out of this.
He goes, why do those words chain you, Mark? The words till death do us part, right? So that was interesting. I didn't finish this yet, by the way. I've not finished reading this. I got to this part and I was like, wait, what? So he goes, why do those words chain you, Martin? Aren't they your answers? Aren't they your answer? Don't you see? They could free you. What? Don't you see? They could free you. Death. Why don't you kill her, Martin? And he said, kill her? If only I could, but I can't. I can't. And then he goes, are you a coward, Martin? Are you afraid to try? No, that isn't it. Think back to 5 years ago. You'd been married a year, and Eva had worn off. Only her money was important to you then. My God, he was married for only a year, and he says her looks worn off. Jesus.
Damn.
There, darling. I've done it. I've done what you've asked. I've made out my new will, leaving you all my money. Don't put it that way, honey. It's just that in order to avoid complications. Remember the old balcony, Martin, overlooking the tiny garden behind the townhouse. How Eva loved that balcony. She used to stand out there for hours. Come out, dear. It's such a lovely night. In a moment, Eva. Remember the mad plan you'd gotten here. You thought it out so carefully. It would be so easy to weaken the support of her little balcony. By the way, I was thinking just now about this. I was like, this wouldn't really happen. But then I remember you sent me a video of some guy in Vegas that fucking put a woman in a freezer. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anything can happen, man.
Yeah. easy to weaken the support of her little balcony. And this iron brace are ready to come loose, at least jarring. You envisioned her stepping out on loosened balcony one night. Oh, Martin, come see the moon. Martin. So I didn't know. I didn't get to this part. So I didn't know he's dreaming this part that she fell. Is he dreaming? You see?
No, he was just remembering what. We're
so
getting
it
a little
did
bit more
happen.
info about what happened. Yeah, so he ended up killing. We know that he ended up killing his wife, just loosening the bolts on the rail on the balcony, and she fell on the spike fence. Ooh. The new spike fence you'd have conveniently erected. Oh, this guy planned it out really well.
I would change it if I was to do this episode. I'd probably make it a woman killing her husband. I would change it.
Yeah, that given like how everything is in media right now, I think that would work.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too, because but I think it would work just as a storytelling device that you change it up from constantly being men wanting to kill their wives.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that was like every issue on this whole series or the episodes. It's always the dude trying to kill somebody for money.
Except, it's like, what the fuck? But then, goodbye, Eva. Hello, Paris, London, wine, women. It's like you planned it all so carefully, even up to what you tell the police. It just collapsed. It was awful. I was so helpless. Oh, I couldn't stop it. I couldn't do anything. And you pictured how sympathetic they'd be, how they'd pat you on your back and say, "Sorry, Mr. Saunders, it's been an ordeal for you, we know. Sorry to have to ask you all these painful questions. A tragic loss. Loss? You'd be laughing inside at what you'd gained. You'd remember how you knew how you'd have to be careful concealing your glee as they carried her mangled body out, pierced and torn by the fence spikes after she's buried and the will is probated. I reap, now I weep." Nice. That's a nice line. After she's buried and I will weep, and the will is probated, I reap, not weep. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I want that on the shirt.
I reap, not weep. That's great. Now I want to know how she comes back to life. So why? You tell me. I don't. Let me see. How does she?
Oh yeah, we get a little bit of backstory on that and him loosening the bolts. And let me see. Yeah, and then we get a scene where they go to the bedroom, she's getting turned on, she wants to bang this guy, and he's like, and then every line here leading up to it is this is like the last thing he wants to do, just disgusted by her.
Oh my God.
And then she goes like, "But darling, we're married, remember?" And then you stare out at her bloated, rotting flesh that even now falls away in the tiny dried particles. So it's like one of those, classic Tales from the Crypt.
But it doesn't say how she came back to life.
No, she's just been back, and then he's been dealing with her for 5 years, I think you mentioned, right? And
yeah, well, my God, kill yourself.
He really wanted that money, so
he can't go out. He can't do anything.
Can't do anything. And then this is pretty cool. Like this last little panel here.
Let me see. And you know that you can never leave her, Martin Saunders. You know that if you ever tried, she would find you, she or the police, because she'd go to them and show them. And show them. So you stare at the woman you murdered 5 years ago, the woman who came back from the grave to live with you again, to live with you because she'd taken a vow she meant to keep.
Till death do us part, Martin. Remember, we both promised. That means till both of us die, not just one. So, you see, you can't leave. Not yet. Now come to bed and fuck my pussy. Oh, Lord. Oh,
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
job. A round of applause.
That's interesting.
Dramatization.
That's great. I think that's fantastic. The way, I mean, I would be, how'd she come back? I guess that's not important. That's interesting.
No, it kind of helps. It kind of answers and gives you, because when I was read it, it's like, man, this chick's ugly. What happened to her?
Yeah.
And then you find out that, oh, she's just kind of like rotting flesh.
Yeah, she came back somehow.
Some kind of haunted or ghoul or something. So yeah, I mean, he had no choice, because otherwise she just go to prison. I guess, you know, the truth would come out.
I mean,
to be honest, yeah, honestly, I was just ending myself.
I know. But then he'd come back. But no, but then she'd die. If he killed himself, she'd die. Because till death, both of us, until we both die. So just kill yourself.
Yeah, and yeah, you might have another one of those ending scenes like in that one episode with the magic potion of love, and he sees her like in heaven with the smushed face. He's like, I thought I left the situation of Earth. Now I got to deal with her in the afterlife.
This is who I'm saying she looks like. By the way, also the shirt. I wouldn't be surprised if this. By the way, this woman directed an episode. The director of Pet Sematary. Remember, she directed episode 5, I believe, of Tales from the Crypt. So, why am I did all that and I just had to do this. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's how like the issue is. looking all nasty.
That looks just like her. Wait till you get. Look at that. Just
Yeah, they need a scene where like maggots come out of her mouth as he's about to kiss him or something. That'd be a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Look at the back.
Oh,
look at the everything. Works.
Thinner.
Oh, that's a good one too. I saw that in theaters.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Very underrated one.
I saw it in theaters. The only thing I dislike is Joe Manteglia. I do not like him at anything he does. Anything. Even in
Rescue Me?
No, that's another show. No.
Oh.
Joe Montaglia is the guy from Montana. Joe Montana or Montaglia? What's his
quarterback?
No, that's Joe Montana. He's from Criminal Minds.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
He was in The Godfather. I think that's why I hate him, because he was awful. He plays the gangster in Thinner.
Oh, right.
Montaglia.
I was thinking about the other guy, the main guy.
Joe Montaglia. Yeah, I just hated him. But I think he works fine in Thinner. I think he's fine in Thinner. But in general, I just dislike him. Everything he's done, I find him as an awful actor. But he was in Baby's Day Out. That was the best thing he was in.
I was gonna say that's the best thing he was in for me.
It was good in Baby's Day Out. But Joe Montaglia. Or Mantegna. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Mantegna.
Yeah, but he was in he was Joey Zaza in The Godfather Part 3. It was like, he was horrible. He was like a John Gotti type. It was just, but he was just terrible. Like,
Well, it's funny. I've seen both the Godfather movies, but I never watched the third one just because I heard bad things.
Yeah.
So I just never wanted to watch it.
There's no point. There's no point. Although I watched the movie again, I watched it once before of Andy Garcia in a different movie. And I was like, I hate him. I hate when he screams. I just never liked, as a younger kid being Spanish, I'm like, oh, I thought I should like Andy Garcia. He's Spanish, right? I should like what movies he does. Let me try to watch it. And the only one I liked was The Untouchables. I hated him in The Godfather. I hated him in many things except Desperate Measures with Michael Keaton. I think I was a kid and I liked that movie because Michael Keaton was such a fucking badass bad guy in that movie. But in general, yeah, I never liked Andy Garcia. And then last time I watched a movie with him, which I've seen before. It's called Night Falls on Manhattan. It's a great fucking movie. A great movie. Richard Dreyfuss is in it. Andy Garcia. Fucking who else? I forgot the father's name. He's a famous actor too. And then James Gandolfini plays the partner. It's a great movie actually. I was like, this is a really good film.
Nice.
Yeah,
I gotta check that one out.
Yeah, it's about law and cops and shit, but it's really good. I liked it. But anyway, yeah, nonetheless. So that was the episode, our first episode, our Patreon exclusive episode, which I guess not Patreon exclusive, the first one, since everyone gets to see it. But yeah, if you go on Patreon, you'll get episodes like this and other things, and then we'll do commentaries or reaction videos to movies of Tales from the Crypt or movies inspired by Tales from the Crypt. Things like that along the way. Like the next Tales from the Crypt film.
We got Bordello Blood lined up. It's gonna go down.
Yeah, later. That Demon Knight. That's the one Alan's gonna fucking love.
That one I haven't watched yet. I've been just waiting until we do the episode.
Yeah, we'll probably do that sometime soon on the Patreon. Because that's the good, that's the great, I saw that in the theaters too. This is so crazy. Yeah. Anyway, by the way, one more thing, speaking about, because Stephen King worked with George Romero on a bunch of stuff, but he's also Creep Show. One of his stories is used in Creep Show. I read recently, I have that book, The Skeleton Crew. It's a bunch of short stories. So I'm reading The Mist now, which is interesting, reading, and I'm picturing everything that comes out. I swear I'm picturing Thomas Jane in the dialogue, like it's him saying it. I'm like, that's the best casting ever. Like he either did a great job because from the book playing the guy, or it was the best casting ever because he's perfect. He's perfect for the father, the kid too. But the story, the reason why I got the book to read it is because of the monkey that's coming out this month or next month. Is it this month? This month. The monkey comes out in 2 weeks. So that short story is not that good. I really want to see what Osgood Perkins does with it, actually, to make it better. Because it's ridiculous, especially the ending is so stupid. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It was like, I want to see how they end.
Yeah, they got a lot of movies coming up based on short stories by Stephen King. So I'm curious to see how those, fare out. I only know the poster, but I had never seen the trailer yet.
To the monkey?
To the monkey.
It looks great, actually. I did a reaction to it. Anyway, so yeah, this is what you'll get on the Patreon. So check the link in the description box. And yeah, that's that. And we will talk to you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.